The global response to US President Donald Trump's latest 25% hike on tariffs on steel and aluminium, swift and varied. Some nations hitting back with their own measures, others opting for diplomacy over escalation.
我想重申的是，中美经贸关系是相互的、对等的。如果选择合作，可以实现互利共赢；如果一味施压，中国必将坚决反制。
China is the only country facing tariffs higher than 25% on its steel and aluminium. An existing 20% blanket levy on Chinese goods brings the total rate imposed on steel and aluminium from the country to 45%. Elsewhere, Japan has called Mr. Trump's decision to impose tariffs, quote, regrettable, saying the lack of an exemption could impact economic ties with the United States. Tokyo had asked to be excluded from these tariffs earlier this week, but Washington declined that request. South Korea, one of the largest suppliers of steel to the US, also pushing back. The country's trade minister is set to visit Washington tomorrow to address concerns after Mr. Trump singled out Seoul for allegedly imposing higher tariffs 4 times that of the United States. Seoul has disputed this claim, arguing that its effective tariff rate on US imports is significantly lower than what Mr. Trump suggests. In the UK, the government calling the tariffs, quote, disappointing, but has chosen not to retaliate. Instead, Britain is focused on securing a broader economic agreement with Washington. Australia similarly criticising those tariffs as, quote, entirely unjustified, but ruling out imposing reciprocal tariffs. Instead, Australia plans to continue lobbying the US for an exemption. In contrast, the European Union has taken a firmer stance, the bloc announcing that it will impose countermeasures starting early next month, targeting $28 billion worth of American goods. The European Commission will phase in tariffs on a range of US products, a move that it says is necessary to protect EU industries and consumers. And for more, Kate Fisher joins us live from Washington, D.C. Kate, we've seen all those responses from all the different countries outside of the United States. But within the U.S., how have American steel producers been reacting to these latest tariff hikes?
Well, they are delighted. They say that this will be a great addition, given the fact that the tariffs that Donald Trump imposed in 2018 during his first term have gradually been eroded and their effect on their industry has become less strong. So they say these will supercharge it now. They'll be able to make more investment, build new factories, as well as employ more people in high-paying jobs. So a really positive reaction from steelmakers in the US, but less so for those companies who rely on these metals for their industries, like the automaking industry or the food packaging industry, who need tin cans to put their soda in, for example. They are concerned because they say it's going to make their products much more expensive. And economists point to the fact that in 2018, when these first round of steel tariffs came in, yes, it helped the steel industry to make more money, but it caused losses for those downstream industries that use that metal, and that was not enough to make up. Even though the steel manufacturers made more money, the losses were more severe in those downstream markets, and that was overall negative for the US economy.
Negative reaction certainly in the last 2 days after that weekend interview released over the weekend by the US president, in which he said he would not rule out recession for the US economy in 2025. Markets already reacting with a great deal of jitters and nerves in the last few days. We've seen sell-offs in global markets. Does Mr. Trump, longer term, have a plan to address what's likely to be larger pain, given already what we've seen countermeasures from various parties affected by these new levies?
He continues to be bullish in his opinion that tariffs are the best economic policy for the US, and he has long held that belief if you look back at what he said over the years. And even in the face of these markets tumbling both Monday and Tuesday, and who knows what will happen today, yet he says he doesn't pay attention to the markets, and it is the long-term gain that these tariffs will bring that he is concentrating on. He has acknowledged there will be some short-term pain for Americans as this happens, but he keeps saying that it will be worthwhile in the long run. Some economists are not so sure, and more of them are suggesting it is more likely that the US will find itself in recession because of these economic policies. And I think it's notable that the Republican Party, who have huge support for their president, but when you listen to what they say about tariffs, they never really very few of them anyway, wholeheartedly, publicly support those tariffs. They support the president, but they know that many of their constituents will be hurting from these tariffs.
Oh, thanks. Kate Fisher reporting live to us there from Washington, D.C.